Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie if you're new to my channel, and welcome to Beauty with a Purpose. Okay, so today I have a good video for you guys, and this one's gonna be beauty related, and it's makeup brushes for beginners. Now, I have a lot of friends from church or just, like acquaintances that ask me like, I have all these eyeshadows, but I don't know what brushes to use, or I really want to get more into makeup, but I don't know what brushes to use. And so I have a video that's all about makeup brushes for beginners. And first I want to say is do not feel like you need the fancy brushes that you have to order online or anything like that. I started out with e.l.f. and Wet n Wild, and all of their brushes, I'll just put it in general. I started out at the drugstore, mostly e.l.f. and Wet n Wild, and I say that because all my sponges have been L'Oreal, EcoTools, Real Techniques. Real Techniques is at the drugstore, and I started out with Real Techniques brush. Now, 90% of my brushes have been gifted to me. When I buy brushes, I buy the $1 to $2 brushes, and I'm not ashamed to say it. So we're gonna go ahead and get started, and I guess we'll go ahead and start with the eyes because that's the most brushes. Because that's the brush that has the most. So first things first is I have for you right here is basically 3 different styles of crease brushes. Now your crease is this part of your eye right here. So like how I'm looking at you in the camera and you see, obviously there's a crease when I'm looking at you. So these are your crease brushes. And you can have one that's more precise like this, which is gonna give you a little bit more of a dense and more impactful color in your crease. And then you have one that's a little bit more flared. And this one's really good for what we would call a transition shade. And that's just basically the shade that you put down to blend all your shades together. And you can, honestly, I keep a towel on the table that I do my makeup on, and you don't have to buy 6 of these or 6 of these. You don't need 6 of any brush. What I do is I'll use a color, I'll wipe it around on the towel, and it cleans right off, and then I'll go in with the next color. And so this one is really good for really just blowing it out. And then you have this kind of crease brush, which is a lot more flared than the other 2. And so these ones I would say are your essential eye makeup brushes, because if you don't have a good crease, well, or a blended crease, then you can start to look like a clown. And so this one is really good for blending colors together, or if you just want, let's say you're just gonna throw a bronzer in your crease that day just for some color so your face isn't flat. Well, then this is good for that because it's going to give you color, it's going to give you dimension, but it's not going to make it very pigmented. It'll just give you that light wash of color that says, hey, I'm awake, I'm here, I'm alive. And that's what this brush is good for. And so like I said, there's these 3 brushes for your crease that I recommend. And like I said, just start out with one, even if you just start out with this one, because you can do basically what these 2 can do with just this one. You're just gonna have to learn how to be, it'll work your skills up a little bit. And that's kind of how I started out with, was just like one crease brush. Okay, so my next thing would be is for, I recommend priming your eyelids. So whether that be with a concealer, whether that be with an eyeshadow primer. But after you do that, you want to go in and set it down with either a setting powder or just an eyeshadow that's close to the color of your skin. You want to set all of that down. So I recommend a flat shader brush like this. It's kind of big and it's kind of fluffy, so it'll pick it up and it'll set that down, because if you go in on a wet concealer or a wet eyeshadow primer, it can begin to stick, and then your eyeshadow can be very blotchy or hard to blend out. And so this, I recommend this. It's like a paddle, like I said, it's like a shader brush. It's like a little bit more fluffy, not as tightly packed. Okay, and then last for your lid is a tightly packed shader brush, and one that's a little bit shorter, so that when you're packing on that shimmer shade or anything onto your lid, it's smaller, it gets where you want it, and you're not putting a color up in your crease that you don't want in your crease. Like, I'm someone who personally, I don't like shimmer in my crease. Now, do I get shimmer in my crease? Yes, because I kind of have like a slightly hooded eye, and so this helps me. Even your finger would work with that. Like, I use my finger today for my eyeshadow, so this one for packing on color onto the lid, or like your shimmer shades, just to get it exactly where you want it, and it's a little bit more precise than this one right there. You can see the difference. And now we can't forget that lower lash line. I used to not do anything to my lower lash line, and then I was like, with these more dramatic looks, it looks pretty crazy for me to not have any color whatsoever down here. So all you need is one pencil brush. I would recommend a smaller one, so that way you can use it for your entire crease. And like I said, all you have to do is get a towel, rub off the previous color. And so you can start out, you can do it really blown out. You see how this one's really tapered and it comes to a tip. And so you can kind of smoke it out. You can get really precise. You can get really, really close if you want to. Or like I said, you could do it more blown out. So these are all for eyeshadow brushes, and that's it. That's all you need is 6 brushes to start you out with for eyeshadow as a beginner. Don't need those 30 packs from Morphe or whatever to get you started, especially if you don't have the skills to use them because you don't know what to use them for. Okay, so now we're going to go into the face. Now I have 3 ways here for your face. So for foundation, for concealer. Now, a lot of people like, sorry, I actually had to pull out a few more brushes for concealer. I'm the type of person that I will reach for a sponge most of the time. One, because I have dry skin, and the sponge just gives you like that little bit of moisture that you need. I recommend wetting it with cold water, because if you have this hot water dries out your skin even more. And so a beauty sponge, like I said, this one's Eco Tools. It's $6. It's not expensive at all. And so I use this side to blend out my foundation, and then this side for concealer, and then this side to set my concealer. And now if you're a beginner, I'm pretty sure you're not going to go into highlighting and contouring, so you don't need this sponge for all of that. And I recommend, like, if you're not into all of that, but let's say you just want to throw in a BB cream. Well, my favorite way for a BB cream is this Real Techniques buffing brush. Now it's almost like a kabuki brush, but it's a lot less dense. It's a little more flimsy. Now for foundations, this is a flat top kabuki, well, it's like a rounded kabuki brush. And my sister gave this to me. She got it off of Wish, and she didn't use it, so she gave it to me. Now this one is really, really densely packed, and it's tight. So this is going to be good for giving you that foundation without the streaks. And it's not going to hold a lot of product. So like I said, if you're just kind of a person for BB cream, I would go with something more like this. And if you're using like a full coverage foundation, I would go with something more densely packed. And then I pulled out this brush in case you are somebody who doesn't like sponges, but you are going to be using concealer. You can blend your concealer out with a brush like this. Stippling brushes are really good. It's soft, it's gentle, plus it's small enough to get up under your eye and, you know, just down and be precise with it. You could also use a brush like this for concealer and to blend this out. So those are all for your face brushes. So now, let's say you are gonna want a little bit of bronzer, but I assume if you're not a beginner, you're not gonna jump straight into contouring. So I chose one bronzer brush, and this is going to give you that warmth without having to be too precise. So it's going to bring that life back into your skin, so your face isn't flat, but it's not going to give you those chiseled out cheekbones or your chiseled out nose. this is something fluffy like this is good for you if you're just beginning, because it's not going to put it on, like I said, really pigmented. You can work it out, you can blend it out, you can be very light-handed with this. Same thing for blush, is you want something a little bit more bigger, and I would even go with something that's this big and that's really flimsy, because like I said, as a beginner, you don't want to start out with brushes that are going to put everything on very pigmented, because you don't really know what you like yet. You don't know if you like a lot of blush. You don't know if you like your blush to be blended out, or if you just want it to look like a natural flush of the cheeks. And so something like one of these two would be great for blush. And I am recommending like the bronzer and the blush, because nobody's face is one color. Nobody's face. We have those natural areas where the sun hit, where we should be bronze. Like I didn't contour today. All I did was bronze, but I have natural contour already. And so, like I said, my cheeks get really red. Your cheeks probably get really red. So it's weird because we wear makeup, but we want it to look natural. But I don't know. You don't want to be ghostly is what I'm trying to say. So that's why I recommended that bronzer brush and a couple of blush brushes. And now for highlight, because why not highlight? And so you just want something like this. I mean, some people like fan brushes, but highlighting, you just need something small and you need it precise, because anything that has to do with contour or highlighting, it's strategic. You want to place it in certain places. You don't want it to be all over the place. And so anything like this would be great. Lipsticks, usually just use the applicators they come with. So I think that is all for this video, guys. Let me know if you have any more suggestions, if you want me to do any more beginner videos. I've definitely been thinking about going to the drugstore and doing like a beginner's makeup kit with, like I said, like a BB cream, a blush, and a bronzer, and like a mascara. And so if you guys would like that, thumbs up, let me know. Please hit that subscribe button. I love you guys, but Jesus loves you more. Bye.